This is something that can hold me and you back from achieving the level of success that we want to achieve. And I want to share it with you, some stories about it today, and also a solution that you can take away and use immediately. And it's a simple solution, but it works really well. You and I and every other human being often revisit the past in our lives, don't we? We have conversations with friends about remember when and all the rest of it. And sometimes we revisit the past and it doesn't do us any good because we pick up our resentment, our annoyance, our embarrassment about whatever might have happened there. So let me tell you two stories that bring this to life and then give you this solution. The first one is from my own life. Over 30 years ago, I sold a business that I started 5 years previously to a London-based stock exchange listed company. And I sold it for £4.2 million, £1 million in money, in cash, and £3.2 million in the shares of that particular stock exchange listed business. Things were going great. We went through the earn-out year, we got the second tranche of the money, but then in the following year, when I was still under a restrictive covenant where I could not sell the shares that I'd taken as 3/4 of the consideration, the shares fell from £2.42 to 16p, which cost me about £3 million. Now, £3 million any day of the week, even today, is a lot of money. Back then, it was an awful lot more money. And of course, I had a choice how I dealt with that. You can imagine I was embarrassed, I was annoyed, I was frustrated and all the rest of it, but I managed to get through it. And one of the ways I got through it was by sitting down and asking myself a question, which was, Peter, what do you love to do? And in answering that, then I was able to restructure my life and move on from there. Second story. I was speaking, because that's what I decided to do a lot of, I was speaking at a seminar, a whole day seminar for a big multi-level marketing company. And I was the keynote speaker, and I was speaking just before lunch. And then in the lunch break, a guy came up to me and he said he'd enjoyed the session, but could I help him? And I said, yeah, well, what's the problem? And he said, well, I'm really struggling with his business, his network marketing business, to recruit new people, either as distributors or as customers. And I said, okay, so, what's this all about? He said, well, I approached a friend of mine, over a year ago. And he decided not to join me. And then, in fact, he wrote to me. And at the moment he said he wrote to me, he pulled out from his inside pocket an envelope with a letter in it. And he handed it to me. And he said, this is the letter he wrote to me. And I read it. I have to say it was pretty darn critical. It was criticising the guy for having approached him. How dare he get involved in this sort of scam type business? And I mean, it was a really tough letter. And I looked at the date and he was right. It was over a year ago. And I said, well, would you like me to help you with this? He said, yeah. I said, okay. And I folded the letter and I tore it into pieces. And I put it back in the envelope and I gave it back to him. And I said, put it in the bin. I said, while you're carrying that letter, you are carrying an anchor so heavy in weight that you're just never going to succeed with that. So you've got to get rid of it. So will you promise me that you're going to throw it in the bin? And he realised in the moment, he went, yes, he did. So there was a couple of stories with a couple of solutions in, and the solution, the formula, the idea that I use in order to get through those difficult periods in life that can hold back me, hold back you, hold back other people is this. It's who. And it's who is responsible. So it's who with a question mark, but the who stands for something, and it's this. The W stands for what in the sense of what happened. The H stands for how, meaning how we react to what happened. And the O equals the outcome. So the simple formula is W plus H equals O. What happens plus how we react equals the outcome. What happens, we have no choice, we have no control over. There's nothing we can do about it. It happened. But what we do have control and choice and thoughts about is how we will react. And from there, we get the outcome. So when the situation occurred with the shares falling out the sky, that was the what. How I react and how I reacted changed the outcome I could have had, because I could have reacted in a different way. The same with the guy. What happened was his friend was critical, but, some will, some won't. So what next? And then he decided to react in a different way to how. And so therefore he got a better outcome. I'm sure you can take this idea away and use it all over the place. And if you've enjoyed this video, then there's lots more of these about which you can have a look at. They're around here somewhere. But in the meantime, I wish you every success in all your adventures in life as you more often think, who? From me, Peter Thomson. I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye for now.